Yo, welcome back to the Audio Theory Podcast. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button as well as the like button. Before we introduce our special guest, what's good, Danny? How have you been?
What's good, Mike? I'm doing great, bro. Daylight savings. I got out the office today. It was sunny as fuck out. I was like, yo, this is the vibe. Apparently winter was like 2 weeks this year, bro. So I'm like super happy about that. How are you, dude?
I've been good. Still living in San Francisco, just trying to make it happen. Been searching for homes, which is the most defeating process. I feel like a broke ass person in this city, but it is what it is. Gives me more drive to make something of myself. And speaking of drive, we'll get into that with this just gentleman that we have on.
Yes, we have a special guest this evening, artist, producer, songwriter of the works, visionary, goes by Bars. What's good, man?
What's good, guys?
Dude, super excited to have you on. If you don't mind, you let the people know actually how this interview came to be.
So, I believe it was, I sent you guys a submission.
Yeah.
I think it was, I think it was for playlist.
Yeah, we had the Heat of the Week playlist.
Yeah, that's right. So that's how it happened, and then we just got to talking from there.
Yeah, dude, we really appreciate it. The music was fire. So once we heard a couple of tracks, we were like just trying to figure out how to make it work. We had a bunch of things going on. Our boy getting married, everything. So we appreciate you still making time for us.
Absolutely, and I appreciate you guys taking the time.
Sir. And just to backtrack a little bit, did you find out about us through another artist or through the YouTube channel or Instagram?
I think it was probably through another artist. If it was a playlist, then I do my due diligence trying to find the right playlist for my market, you know?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, good to know.
Exactly which artist, but I'll find people in the same market, the same, similar stuff, and go from there. Just using the tools that are provided through Spotify. It's crazy to live in today.
Yeah, I know.
Facts. Like, who would have thought a kid from LA, Miami, and now Charlotte are linking up, all kinds of music. So that's awesome.
Man, that's awesome.
So, dude, we like to have the first part of this podcast just be fucking super funny icebreaker. So we'll just get into some shit. Doing my own research, I saw you're currently in Charlotte, but originally from Texas. So I want to ask you this question thus far: what's better barbecue, Texas barbecue or Carolina barbecue?
Oh man, you're gonna get me in trouble. I've lived in Carolina a lot longer, so I feel like
That's
I have
a good answer.
Carolina, man. Now, have you guys actually tried Carolina barbecue?
I have. So it's more, from what I know, you can tell me I'm wrong. I lived actually in Charlotte for like 3 years. So you can tell me if I'm wrong. It's more vinegar based in the Carolinas, right?
So yes, that's traditional way. Now, when you say the Carolinas, it does kind of, there's a split line. South Carolina uses the mustard-based barbecue.
Okay.
Have you before?
No, I never had that before.
That's good too.
Yeah.
They're both good, but the vinegar is the way to go for being in the South. Keeping it.
Yeah. I had it. I mean, I had Texas barbecue. Went to Austin like a couple years ago, but yeah, I don't know. The vinegar base for me, and when I had it in Charlotte, was fire. So
it's different too. Texas barbecue is brisket. It's beef.
Yeah.
Versus pork. I wouldn't compare them. They're two different animals.
Yeah.
I
feel that.
First time I had barbecue, I was in Austin, Texas. The funny thing is, he and I actually by chance happened to be flying to Austin, Texas the same weekend. It was for his birthday, but I was with my girl and we were just going, and I looked at Instagram. I was like, what the fuck, you're here too?
Yeah. And we already had the pod going. It's like, yo, we talk every fucking day. So how do we not understand this?
Right?
Yeah.
Man, like that's a way of working out sometimes.
I know. It's happened to me multiple times, which is crazy, but it's always fun when that does happen. I forget the name of the place, but the line was like out the door. Like it seemed like it was a mile deep. So I ended up not going there. I think it was the most famous or Instagram worthy spot.
Not Oscars. There's some dude. He's been in a bunch of movies. I know what you're talking about. Like that guy's like, yeah, you get there like at 5 a.m. There's still a wild line before he even opens. They usually sell out like around lunch.
Yeah, I believe there's places like that on Eastern North Carolina. They only stay until like 11 because they're sold out of everything they have.
Yeah, I believe it.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Who eats barbecue?
We went to. I know exactly. That's what tripped me out. I'm like, damn, there's no good time to go. Like people are just eating it all day.
Oh yeah.
And I told my Uber, so we got there like at 3:00, and I told my Uber driver, take me there. And he's like, bro, you're not gonna get food. Like, you know that, right? Like, fam, it's not gonna happen today. I was like, all right, never mind then.
Yeah.
That's funny.
What is something that you enjoy doing, maybe a hobby outside of music that people wouldn't expect you to be into?
I mean, I do enjoy food, obviously. I feel like that's a given for almost anybody.
So you consider yourself a foodie?
Yeah, I don't necessarily take pictures of everything I eat or videos. Maybe I should start a side channel. Get the side.
Yeah.
You know, so something that most people wouldn't know is I'm really deep into the craft beer industry. So I've actually worked at a few breweries throughout the years, and you know, I've learned a lot. I've done almost every role besides brewing the beer itself. I've done sales, a lot of sales and distribution, some maintenance, stuff like that, draft beer lines.
Nice.
It's something that interesting. I like it. It's I get some satisfaction out of it.
Have you ever attempted to brew your own beer?
No, I haven't. I do want to get into it though. Haven't spent too much time on the production side of things, but it is something that is interesting. It's like science, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
It is science, the way it goes down. It's pretty interesting. But I enjoy drinking beer. And it's funny because working at the breweries, people automatically think that I'm just an alcoholic. But I really only I'll drink like once every couple of months, if that, you know?
Oh, wow. Nice.
Well, I say that now, but now that I'm in Charlotte, I'll knock on wood, you know?
I feel like beer goes really good with barbecue. So that would be hard for me to have barbecue and not have a beer on deck.
You guys are making me hungry right now. I feel like
what is this pod about?
So we just postpone this and go get barbecue and come back?
But the funny thing is, our listeners, he did say he doesn't drink that often, but he did say before this, hey, can we maybe change the time because today is St. Patty's Day? And I was like, yo, this motherfucker's alcoholic, dog. Who are we?
Got to be something worth celebrating.
Yeah, I think that was awesome. So are you at liberty to say, I'm sure you are, but what was your favorite like brewing company, a beer company you worked for? Like, what's a brewery that you would highly recommend?
I worked for Red Oak Brewing in Green, North Carolina. I'm sure if you lived in Charlotte, you've probably heard of them before, but
I never been there, but I've been to the Sierra Nevada one, and I actually lived right next to in Southland. I lived next to Sycamore Brewery.
Oh, nice. Sycamore is good.
Yeah, dude. They've grown so much like since I've been
They're statewide. I mean, they're everywhere.
Oh, nice.
I'm not sure if they're out of the state. A lot of breweries don't leave the state in North Carolina because you have to pay it's a whole nother thing.
Gotcha.
A lot of other taxes and fees that go along with it. But I worked for before I moved here, I was working for a company called Shortway Brewing. And they have really good, like their product could honestly be sold around the United States. It's really, really good. But it's a local brewery. They do a lot more than people realize. I mean, they're covering a lot of ground. But I would definitely recommend them if you're in Eastern North Carolina. You're going to the beach, check them out sometime.
You said Shortway? Shortway
Brewing.
All right, I'll check it out.
Nice.
Awesome. All right, so you obviously answered, you're more of a beer guy, so I want to ask you that. So would you prefer to host a party or attend a party?
Attend a party.
All right, why?
Because people, man.
It sounded like you hosted a party this past weekend.
Yeah, just yesterday.
Parties to know what the turnout is afterwards, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We used to throw some ragers back in the day. And
Nice.
you're repairing things for a couple of weeks afterwards.
Yeah.
I guess it's on what kind of people are coming over, but
Yeah,
for me, it's just like the natural introvert in me comes out. I'm like, damn, I gotta fucking make sure like everyone's happy, and I gotta go to this group of people. But I'm here with my girl, and I want to just hang out. Like it's like all those thoughts running through my mind. It's like, bro, it's not that serious.
yeah, it can get stressful sometimes. especially depending on who you are.
Yeah. I feel that.
Yeah, I'm the same way. So if I had to choose, I would definitely attend. Similar to what Danny mentioned, like I'm way too stressed out trying to make sure like nobody's stealing shit, nobody's fighting, everyone's having a good time, like we got enough alcohol or whatever. Whereas if you're attending, you just pop in, have a couple of drinks, disappear if you're not feeling it. Like it's just way easier to do that.
No liability.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And cleaning up isn't fun, even if like nothing bad happens.
Yep.
All right. As a child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a rapper. That's what, that's something that I grew up in Kinston, North Carolina, which is another small town, but that's what we did growing up. Everybody, back then we were listening to Dipset and whoever else was popping at the time. Nice. And that was the thing though. We on the bus, we're ciphering. At the park, we're ciphering. At the lunch table, beating on the table with doing apps everywhere. Man, that's I feel like I was fortunate to have that as a young kid, Yeah.
Yeah, we were doing some
drive in my life.
100%. And we were doing some research on you earlier, and it's clear that you had that influence at a super young age. I'm assuming like that was being in music was really your first like goal all along, like even since you were say 6 years old.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
So I was also influenced by my uncle. He was a rapper in Texas, and back then he was doing mixtapes with some bigger DJs in the area, and he would work with people like Chingo Bling. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him.
He sounds familiar.
Trade the
Truth. Yep.
A lot of those underground Texas guys, he was dropping mixtapes and having them on songs. So that was a big deal for me as a kid, that really influenced me a lot to want to be like him,
Yeah.
But it was cool to have that too,
Yeah, I'm sure just seeing someone in your family do that makes it even that more like, I can do this shit, like it's tangible, right?
Yeah. Somebody you look up to.
Yeah, dude, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. So let's get into it, bro. Let's get into it. I'm excited to learn more about you. I'm sure your fans are as well, because us doing our research, like there was like enough videos, enough songs, but like maybe not enough like content about who you are as a person. Right. So I'm glad like your day ones can see this and get more excited about your future. So Bars, we're super happy to have you in the episode. So let people know, I kind of in a summary, like who is Bars?
Bars is he's his own character, that's for sure. But he's somebody who enjoys life. The values of, I'm sure you can hear my values in my music as well. I try to speak on things that other people aren't necessarily speaking about as far as pop culture, But I'm a very spiritual person nowadays. I've definitely grown into my spirituality and just doing right by myself and doing right by others. I've had some personal issues throughout life, and now I'm taking care of myself, trying to live healthy. I could do better on that end, but overall,
no barbecue.
I just no barbecue. No, I just want to be a good person, man. That's essentially what my message is treat others how you want to be treated, and do what you can for yourself instead of relying on other people.
Nah, that came through clear on a few tracks. We can maybe pick a track right now. Like I feel like on Runaway, I feel like that message is coming through probably the clearest. Like, would you say that's like, was that like almost like an autobiographical like song? Like you're like running away from something, like right, like wherever you're at right now?
That's right. Yeah. So I'm trying to be a little more transparent. I got some songs right now. I got a few songs that I got a bunch of songs that I haven't released yet. I'm just trying to figure out the marketing aspect of it. I want it to be properly received by, I feel like they're really good content. So I'm kind of building up that anticipation a little bit.
Sure.
I did take a lot of content offline for a little bit because I want the brand to be on point as a whole with this message. Sometimes I'm feeling this type of way and I'm feeling that type of way. And I don't want the message to conflict with itself, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to feel different types of way, but as far as the branding, the business side of it, I want it to be a positive message, you know?
For sure. And with this spiritual transition, was there a particular event or anything that made you want to go down that path, or was it something that kind of built over time for any other reason?
A few different events throughout life, quite a few events. You know, I had seen a lot of ill shit go down, and I feel like that's what really transitioned. You know, when I was I think it was like 18 or 19, I saw my best friend get shot. He survived, but that kind of started playing a role into how I moved around. You know, I started making different moves, and then relationship issues, drug issues. I had a drug problem for years and years, you know. I think it was just a combination of everything.
Gotcha.
I don't regret any of it. You know, it all made me who I am, essentially a stronger person.
Right. Yeah, 100%. I feel like that's why the music is so powerful, especially individuals like yourself who speak on those things, because without those events, you know, who knows, maybe your music wouldn't hit the same way, or you wouldn't feel so driven to like tell your story if, you know, everything was easy peasy.
Absolutely. Yeah, I want my music to reflect that a little more. So that's why I'm not really at first I was in a rush to try and just put out as much content as possible.
Sure.
Which is king, everybody knows that. But at the same time, I want it to be a certain level of quality that meets that criteria, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. That's another reason why I relocated here to Charlotte, is to, you know, I'll have access to a lot more than where I was living before. I mean, I loved where I was living before, don't get me wrong, but there's a limited opportunity just to be, that's a nice way to say it, you know?
Yeah. And Charlotte's just like, it's been growing nonstop since like 2013, I would say. Like, you know, I remember like side by sides of like Charlotte in 2001 and like now it's like a whole different world.
Crazy, man. No, I'm thankful to be here and to be able to make those moves. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, dude. But so you said a couple things like when you were just answering that question about the differences. So like, what would you? Because like I feel like a lot of content we saw, which obviously is a reason you put it up there. The recent stuff has one message. So what was like was it like a drastic difference from stuff like 5, 6, 7 years ago?
Oh man, I definitely in my phases, you know. So growing up, I made a lot of boom bap style, you know, as we would say, like growing up, this is hip hop and that's rap, you know.
Sure.
But now I've kind of bridged the gap within my mind. Like I got some stuff with the faster, bouncy BPMs, and I enjoy listening to that music as well. But as far as me as an artist, I felt like it had to be one way or the other. You know, there's a lot of people that try to make you feel that way as well. Like, oh, you can't do this if you do that or whatever. It's just, it's music, man. You know, you make what happy essentially. But yeah, I grew up doing more of what I'm doing now, I would say.
Okay.
Maybe not necessarily the message, but, you know, beat selection and the way, you know, the patterns. And then I went to, you know, I've always written about things that I've seen, things that were around me. And when my lifestyle got rough and I was doing crazy shit, my music definitely reflected that as well, you know?
Yeah.
So I was rapping about partying and doing all sorts of crazy shit, you know. But it was fun, and I made a good audience out of that. You know, I got some day ones that will still listen no matter what. If they bought mixtapes in high school or if they found me afterwards at a show. I was doing shows with back then, like people with Ace Hood, Travis Porter, stuff like that. You know, it was not necessarily it wouldn't really correlate with my message and my audience now, I don't think, but
Sure, yeah, a little Ace Hood is a little bit different from what Confessions.
Yeah.
So
I love listening to them, but I don't think the hustle hard audience is gonna
But then those are some big names in the early like 2000s and 2010s. So like, how did those connections come around for you?
So just networking, you know, I'm friends with some of the DJs, and then we actually had, me and a big collective, we rented out a building, we had a studio, we were trying to start a label, you know, essentially that's what it was, the goal was to create a label, and we did for a little bit. It lasted a few years, and sometimes one of my artists knew somebody or I knew somebody. We just kind of cross network with each other, use each other's connections. It was fun though, man. We had a good time doing it.
And then, if you don't mind, like, what made then you decide to go do your own thing? Like, how did that all come about?
So I actually ended up starting a band. I started a reggae band and toured for like 5 or 6 years.
Sheesh.
Oh, wow.
And we would tour.
How'd you make that transition?
Man, it was part of that spirituality.
Nice.
And that's why I rap about the things I do now, because it's basically the same message as what I was doing with reggae, you know. So I found a way to transition back into hip hop.
That's dope. I mean, I feel like reggae and hip hop are kind of intertwined, because that's where a lot of the roots stem from. I'm also half Jamaican, so I just thought it was dope. But
that's what's up.
That's an interesting transition, and definitely love the message from that regard.
Yeah, if you listen to reggae, there's a good chance I've opened for any of the bands that you would know. So the band was pretty successful, man. We were doing a lot of good shows. We were on a run for a little bit, and then we just kind of got content, and which is fine. It's, you know, it happens. Especially when COVID hit, it was just kind of, you know, shut down for a while, and then it's hard to build back that momentum. So that's why I'm back with Bars last year in September.
Nice. And is this currently, and has this been like a full-time thing for you, or are you doing other things on the side to help finance this passion and career?
So at one point it was full-time. You know, when we were touring, we would tour the East Coast with the band. That was full-time. You know, that's all we did was play shows. Everybody quit their jobs and we hit the road. But it's a tough lifestyle to maintain, man. When you're a hungry artist starting out, you know, you take what you can get. It's difficult, and you're in a 15-passenger van for however long at a time. It gets it's tough.
Yeah. I mean, is that like an adrenaline rush in a sense of like where we may not be making a ton of money, but we're still like going to see different crowds and XYZ, or is it still this like anxiety at night of like, oh shit, when's the next show? And
no, it wasn't.
It
wasn't that bad. We were definitely making ends meet, but it's just hard, man. I was also driving. I did the booking. I was the lead singer. I played keys and guitar. It was a lot. It was a lot to maintain for sure. But it worked, and it was definitely in my mind. It made me realize what's possible, because a lot of people told me when I started the band that, oh, you can't do reggae. What do you know about reggae? You're a rapper. That's what I've done my whole life until that point, and it was difficult to get into it. When I actually started the band, I didn't even play any instruments.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I taught myself how to play guitar and keys, eventually drums. I just picked things up along the way.
And you were just like, were you learning this from somebody, or are you on like YouTube? Like, how'd you manage to pick up something like that that's so difficult for like the average person?
So I just picked up the instruments. In my mind, I was starting the band regardless. So I just went and bought instruments. I bought everybody's instruments, all the equipment. I found the people to play, which we cycled through a lot of people throughout the years, but
shit,
it worked, man. And it made me realize, like, damn, what else can I do? You know?
Yeah, it's amazing. I remember like when I was younger, I couldn't figure out how to play like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and I was like, fuck this, I'm done. So the fact that you can make real music on your own is dope, or with instruments.
It's hard, man. Like just picking up an instrument from scratch and trying to get it down. I took guitar lessons when I was young, and I didn't do well with guitar lessons.
Yeah, same. I wish I stuck with it.
It's hard, man.
I did the recorder, bro. That's all I can figure out.
That's all we all know.
So I trumpet when I was younger, in middle school, and I actually my band teacher, his name is Dick Knight, and he used to play for James Brown, Otis Redding, Gladys Knight, a bunch of people. So that was, I'm really fortunate for that. He was my middle school teacher.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Oh, man, and he's still out there making shows.
Did other people in the class take advantage of that opportunity to like really learn from him, or were you one of the few students who was like, I'm gonna build something out of this because it's my actual passion?
There was quite a few people that took it to the next level as far as that. You know, I played trumpet. I know one of the guys I went to school with, he ended up getting a scholarship for playing trumpet.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, so it's crazy where music can take you, you know? It can take you anywhere you want to go.
Sick.
But
nice.
Yeah, it was a good experience. Me and another one of my buddies back then, we played in a 5-piece jazz band with them at the same time. So it was a side thing. We used to get out of school early to go play. You know, that was what we looked at it as. Like, hey, we get to leave school early, you know?
Yeah.
And this is you like in 6th, 7th grade?
Yeah, it was like 7th, 8th grade.
All right, because I'm trying to, like, are you like 55 years old and you just looked up as fuck? Like, how have you done all these things, bro? Like,
I know.
30.
Oh,
sorry,
man.
you said what?
I'm 30 years old. I just turned 30.
Oh, nice, dude. Happy belated.
I'm an old man.
You're the youngest
I mean,
one.
we feel, I know. If anything, we feel old.
Yeah. No, I thought you guys were 26, 25.
Oh,
I'll take
that. I appreciate that. This man's a married 30-year-old man. This guy's old, bro. This guy.
32 to be exact.
But Bars, for you, so production-wise then, because you obviously had all these elements growing up, like, do you do most of the production for yourself, or do you have, like, hire people for that? Like, where are you at with the production for your own music now?
For my own music now and going forward, I think that it's going to be other producers, especially being here in Charlotte. I'd like to link up with some local producers and really dial in that sound. And I'll explain why as well. I enjoy producing, and I still will produce, but at the same time, I know that I'm not the best producer, which is kind of weird to say it that way. I like my beats, but I know that I don't spend enough time learning the craft to perfect it. And I realize that it's not, as far as the creative aspect, I like what I do, but as far as the technical aspect, I realize that there's people that's what they wake up, they live that shit. They love producing. Right. I wouldn't say that I'm that passionate about it. I enjoy doing it, but I'm that passionate about writing lyrics and spitting. You know what I mean? It's I respect the craft enough to realize, like, hey, there's other people that are doing what I'm doing on the other end here. So let's bridge that and try to create something together. So it's something I'm working on right now. I've been working with a few producers as far as, just linking up with them and copping some beats, but I'd like to really create from scratch with people.
It's interesting you say that, because I think I read you received a nomination as a producer, like for work on the G-Unit artists and Hypnotized Minds. Like during that period, did you think to yourself like, oh, maybe with this accomplishment, I do want to pursue being a producer, and that kind of dwindled over time? Or from day one, you were like, this is just kind of secondary to rap?
You know,
vocalist.
in that time, that's what I was doing, you know. And that was the same time frame when we had the studio and we had like over 10 artists, and I literally lived in the studio, man. I was one of the only engineers. There's one other one, and that's what I did. I mean, I lived in there. I stayed the night. Had some girls over there every now and then, you know? But that's what I did, man. I was living that shit, and over time, I realized it was kind of sucking the life out of my creative aspect on writing, you know, being an artist. So it's hard. I respect the fuck out of people who really are really successful, that produce 100% produce and write lyrics and spit it. You know, like that's a job, man.
Yeah,
it's a job because you have to balance that creativity. For me personally, when I don't even record myself anymore. I go to somebody else's studio that I can trust will do a good job and take it. They want to be creative and have the drive to make it the best thing possible. Because of the same thing, man. Just which is, I feel like, isn't the best thing. I wouldn't like be an advocate for go pay other people, you know. It's good it's good to do it yourself, and you can, nobody knows how you want it the way that you do. I mean, if you have that knowledge, but at the same time, I have these things going on in my mind, like I don't know how to create them technically, but I know what I hear, or I know how I want it to sound. So that's do it the way I do it now.
Yeah, it's always a tricky thing, like whether it's the podcast or anything else. On one hand, you can do it yourself and a lot of times tweak it the way you want, but sometimes I do think there is a benefit to paying someone else who can either do it better or just save you a ton of time.
Yeah, time.
But I imagine everyone's situation is different.
Absolutely. Yeah, time is equivalent to money. So either way.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, either way, you're spending time or money, which is, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like those people, like it's crazy, like the Virgils, the Kanyes of the world, like can be like masters of so many things, whereas most people are like jacks of all trades, but like master of nothing, right? So that's like, which one should I do?
Yeah, so that's why I do it that way. It's because I became that way for a long time. You know, I was a jack of, I did a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but what was I really perfecting over time?
Yeah,
that's the way it was.
So like, at what point growing up though, were you like, was it clear that you wanted to make like rap, like hip hop and rap, like your like make your dream into reality? At what age did that happen for you?
I mean, that was probably when I was in like 6th or 7th grade in middle school. So growing up where I did, it had a lot to do with that. It was a big influence on my music. I mean, that was a dream to me. And I was surrounded with people who were also doing that, and they were making moves that I really looked up to and respected. You know, we had a really nice studio around the corner from us when we were kids. I remember Jim Jones coming to Kinston one time. It's pretty crazy, man. Like looking back at it, I was very fortunate to have all of those people and everything that was happening around me.
Yeah. Which is dope too, because I mean, I haven't been to a ton of different cities within the States, but I would imagine that wouldn't be as likely in, say, North Carolina as it might be in like Atlanta or California or something. But it sounds like for you, like the universe made everything fall into place. Like you were at the right place at the right time, met the right connections, like already had the drive, which made it even that much better. Because a lot of people, I feel like when it comes to aspiring artists, feel the need to like come to LA or New York or something.
Right. Which
sounds like you don't have to.
I feel a little guilty of that now, moving to Charlotte. But, you know, to me, Charlotte is a crazy huge city, and to most people, they're like, "Oh, Charlotte's not that big," you know. When they're from
most people, Charlotte's like a connecting flight. I got a connecting flight in Charlotte.
It's you know, if I've done these things in the past that I've done living in where I did, I mean, where I lived before, man, there was no music scene. We had to build one. As far as hip hop, it's still struggling. You know, there's a lot of artists, there's DJs, there's all the people there needs to be a scene, but nobody's connecting those dots and making shit happen, you know?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that with every genre. I mean, with bands, you can go play at the restaurants and bars. There's where I lived before, there's absolutely no music venues there.
Oh, wow.
Like no just music venues. You know, there's a restaurant that has bands, or there's a bar that has bands, but there's no music venues there.
That's wild. That's interesting. Yeah, that's small town, bro. So say that you met Jim Jones in that setting, like, and that inspired you is fucking crazy.
Yeah, it is wild, man.
Yeah, you two keep going. I gotta answer my door. Like, it's crazy, my door real quick, but y'all keep going. I don't want to
go for it. No, I wanted to ask you, because as I was on your social media page, or your Instagram page to be specific, you had the caption in your bio, less content, more art.
Yeah.
I was just curious if you could elaborate that. I'm assuming it's kind of like a protest against the typical Instagram-y bullshit that everyone is subjected to, but wanted to get your official take on that.
Exactly what it's definitely what it is. I feel like the world we live in, it's great to have this technology. We can film everything. We can be transparent and show everybody what our lives really are. But at the same time, I'm guilty of this as well. I felt like stressed out. At one point, I was stressing like just to have a video on my page for the next day. Or, you know, I got to the point where I wanted to start scheduling content, which is great. You should, if you have means to do it. But if it's not from the heart, then it just becomes, you know, what does it become? It's just there. It's just you're doing it just to do it. And I feel that kind of speaks on the music scene nowadays too. You know, the industry as a whole. It's a lot of these labels, it's a pump and dump scheme. I mean, they're using you for a single, then you're gone afterwards, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like the art has kind of died away a little bit.
For sure. Yeah, I feel like a lot of artists have to do these antics in order to get visibility, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. And it I feel like it also plays a role in the mental health as well of these artists, you know? I feel like, I mean, you should treat it as a job. I'm just trying to think of the best way to word it. You should treat it as a job. You should, if you have enough content to put out, absolutely do it. It's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
But make it art, you know? Put the word art back in artists.
Yeah, that's why I love your tagline on your social, like less content, more art. That shit stood out to me a lot.
That's what we were just talking about.
Yeah. A lot of people nowadays are just focused on the numbers, it seems.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah. I mean, fortunately, Instagram did implement that thing where you could hide your likes or whatever. And I actually noticed a lot of artists, maybe mainly the up and coming ones, remove it. Just because a lot of people, for whatever reason, use that as a gauge on whether or not they want to take someone seriously. And I imagine if you post some shit and you get 20 likes, but you're used to 200, you might feel shitty. You might want to take it down. Yeah. It must be stressful to have to think about that constantly. Yeah.
It can definitely play a role in the mental health of artists, you know? And people, especially with social media, they're always comparing themselves to other artists or other people. Even with music, you know, people look at their people they went to high school with and they say, oh, well, they got a family and kids and this and that. And, you know, I feel like I've done it before as well. But then I realized, like, hey, none of that fucking matters because they're not me.
Right. No, we all do that.
Yeah, we all do that.
You're right as well. People don't want to support, as far as the masses go, people don't want to be the first ones there. they want to jump on the bandwagon. You know, they're almost like scared to support, I feel like.
Yeah. But then they'll be the first ones when you do blow up to be like, oh, I like heard his song 3 years ago and commented on this video. Yeah. And they want to be the day ones at that point.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's how it goes, though.
Yeah.
Which is why I think that we kind of started the pod, like this interview series. Like, I feel like we like enjoy like just finding new songs and finding new artists and being like, oh, fuck, dude, like I would love to be the first one to put people onto this, right? So that's also dope feel.
Yeah, it's awesome that you guys are doing that. And I definitely appreciate that. I'm sure other artists do as well.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. So for you though, obviously you're not, I mean, you don't seem someone who's super focused on like, you know, material things or certain numbers, but like what have you ever like, or recently written down like what you want your goals to be in the next, like, you know, while you're in Charlotte for the next couple of years, like in 5 years, like what are the actual goals for you?
So my goals going forward is just to make a living from making music, not necessarily touring. I would like to tour again with this project, if the circumstances, if it makes sense, you know. I don't want to be staying the night in a van weeks at a time, or I don't want to be that struggling artist phase. So
yeah,
in the world we live in today, it can be done if you play your cards right. You got to strategize, and you know, streaming doesn't pay a lot, but that's one of the avenues. I'd say my goal, realistically, in the next few years is to gain a fan base that I can connect with and make a living from that fan base. Yeah, I have this 1,000 fans thing that I'm sure you guys have heard the theory before, but if you have 1,000 fans that will spend $50 or $100 a year with you on t-shirts, merchandise, whatever, you know, you're looking at 50 grand, 100 grand a year, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
haven't
only
heard that theory, but it makes total sense.
not a lot of people. I mean, if you really think about it, 1,000 people, it can be done. You got to put the, it's not going to be super easy, but it can be done for sure.
Definitely. And for you, do you have, I mean, it sounds like the focus is making a living off of music, but do you have a desired level of, I don't want to use the word fame, but recognition? Because I know some artists want to be as big as Drake. Others just kind of want to have a solid ride or die fan base, and want to be a little more low key. So curious if you have a preference, like a strong preference at least.
I definitely have the low key preference.
Yeah, I'm shocked by that answer.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If fame was on the table, I don't think I would deny it, but that's not my aspirations, you know?
Yeah.
I'd love to be able to walk into a grocery store and go get my groceries without people recognizing me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always the analogy I use, just thinking about it. Hopefully all three of us one day will maybe be faced with that decision, but I feel you on that.
I mean, but I get stopped at Publix all the time, but they think I'm Carlos Boozer, so that's why like that shit just fucks.
Yeah, fame isn't a big thing for me, you know. It used to be when I was younger, and the older I've gotten, I've realized like, hey, you don't really want that. I mean, some people,
that works. Yeah,
you kind of your life in a way.
Yeah.
You know?
I think when you're younger, you don't really, privacy isn't really something you take it for granted.
Yeah.
When you're younger, it's always the cool kid who gets the attention that looks like something you want to aspire to be like. But when you get older, you're like, man, I just want to sit at home with my pet or my girl or whatever and not have to deal with.
Yeah, I don't want anyone to invite me out. Like, no one invite me anywhere, dog. I don't want to go.
Right.
So question for you, though, because obviously you were around it a little bit with your uncle growing up, and you were exposed to a lot of things at an early age, in your early 20s. But what were the rappers that like inspired you the most?
At a younger age, I would say Lupe Fiasco, Dipset, Kanye. I know there's some other ones that I'm missing. I loved Jay-Z when I was younger. I had a pretty good selection. Tupac from my uncle.
Okay.
That was He put me on the Tupac. 3-6 Mafia. G-Unit, 50 Cent, Eminem. You know, Eminem was obviously big, listening to him back in the day.
For sure.
He had his chokehold on the game for a while.
Yeah.
Great. Loved the Chronic growing up.
Nice.
Yeah.
No Petey Pablo.
Yeah, I was gonna actually, like, any like Southern stuff that you're really into?
Outkast. I enjoyed Outkast.
Nice.
Not too many Southern artists at a younger age, though. Oddly enough, a lot of
more so because like the radio wasn't really playing that stuff, even though you were like in the South.
Oh, they definitely were.
Okay.
I was just more into the lyrical, which I mean, people in the South are lyrical as well, but in their own way.
Sure.
A lot of people in the city that I grew up in, a lot of people that live there are actually from New York and New Jersey.
Okay.
Don't ask me why. I have no idea why, but everybody there is from New York or New Jersey, so that played a big role into my listening.
Nice.
So, question for you though, like, what's like the one or two comparisons that you get the most? Like, yo, Bars, you sound like this or that. Like, what are the one or two artists?
Nowadays, I hear Mac Miller. Rest in peace, Mac Miller, and I love Mac Miller. You know, I definitely can see a little bit. I don't really think I sound like him, but as far as like some of the things I might talk about, maybe.
Sure.
Just a little outside of the box.
I think Blair was saying offline to me that I think it's like your beat selections is like a very similar to what Mac maybe like would rap over.
Yeah. So, and then a lot of people used to say I sounded like Wiz, actually.
All right, cool. So I'm not fucking crazy, dog. So I texted him immediately. I was like, bro, like, do you hear what I'm hearing? Because like this is like 09 Wiz to me.
Oh god, yeah, I used to hear that shit all the time.
And that was Prime Wiz too, so that.
Oh yeah, that's like a super compliment, bro. Like that was me in front of like the line, ready to go and see a concert Wiz. So like that's a super compliment for sure.
Appreciate that, man. I love Wiz back, and he definitely plays a big influence into my music, you know.
And it was funny, like I was thinking it was only like on older songs of yours, but then like you just dropped Confessions, like your last single, right? And like literally like on like the first couple like bars, it's like it sounds like it could have been like a sample or something, and it's you. Like I'm like, yeah, this is it. Like this is the same thing.
That's so funny, man. Yeah. So did you guys get a chance to check out the older music from 2014?
No, I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it on Apple, and maybe it was just obvious enough for me when I was going through your catalog. Everything was kind of newer for me.
Yeah, okay. I listened to some of it. What is it? Monatomic?
Yeah, that was the EP that I dropped.
I could definitely hear the difference in sound from that phase to now. Whereas now I feel like it's a bit more mellow. I don't want to say like stoner music because I feel like that has a negative like connotation or whatever, but
like vibe music,
introspective, like lyrical stuff that you'd want to vibe out to and is like really digestible.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's funny because I don't even smoke anymore, and I want to get high today. Like, man,
right.
Sure, go ahead. You know, do your thing.
Yeah, because I wanted to ask you, like, for like tripping, which I love the visuals for as well. Like we're like, was that inspired by a moment you were on certain things that were like, yo, this took me to like a different world?
Yeah. So I actually wrote that song in 2013.
Okay, so yeah, I love that one. That was a great one.
Yeah, I wrote that song. It had a different beat originally. I worked with a dude named A$AP Germs for the original song, and I loved the song so much that I remade it with that beat. I actually have lyrics tatted on my arm.
Oh, wow.
When you're screaming, you know, that was my transitional time into the spirituality. So it's definitely tripping on mushrooms.
Okay. Nice. Anything else?
What's that?
Was there anything else you were also tripping on though?
No, just mushrooms. Life. Okay.
Yeah, no, because Blair and I have shroomed a couple of times together. Like I do it like once a month, bro. To be honest, like it's like it just takes me to like a happy place.
Hell
yeah. We're trying to get more people to like inform us about like ayahuasca, because I feel like that's gonna be the door that just opens everything for us.
Yeah, man. Ayahuasca. I have never tripped on ayahuasca, but I have definitely heard some stories. I don't know if I'd be prepared for that, honestly.
Yeah. Were they good stories at least?
There were stories.
I mean, it's something else, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That trip, have you ever tried mushroom tea?
Yeah, I actually just did that, dude. It's actually like I wouldn't say a nicer high, but it's not. At least for me, like the first like 30 minutes when you're like on shrooms, like are aggressive. You're like, bro, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
Whereas with the tea is just like a more like a calm transition to that state, which I liked.
Yeah, the tea is next level for sure.
Yeah.
The tea is I've had a lot of crazy shit go down sipping the tea.
Nice. I tried with some friends making the tea, but I don't think we made it properly because didn't really feel anything.
Yeah, you can't boil it for too long. Or so
Yeah.
A little lesson here. So I used to grow.
This is where the demonetization kicks in right now.
Yeah. You just gotta let the water boil for a little bit, and then as soon as it boils, just drop them, take it off the burner, and drop them in there,
Nice.
and sit with a lid for like 15 minutes.
Nice.
That's
It's
some
funny though,
knowledge.
because when Blair and I did it together, dude, we started like at 7 p.m. and didn't end till like 8 in the morning. And he's like midway, he was like, bro, I don't think I'm high. I'm like, bro, we've had the most in-depth conversation of our entire friendship. We're high as fuck right now.
Yeah. It's something else, man. Starting out when I was younger, I used to trip for fun. And throughout time, it definitely became a spiritual thing. I tripped for knowledge.
Yeah.
You learn a lot during the trip.
For sure.
I haven't tripped in a long time. It's been years.
All right, but clearly you're on a good path, like, because of it. So, like, obviously.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
makes sense.
Yeah, I'm definitely still going off of it for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. So for you though, like what's next? Like, what is obviously you just moved the Queen City in Charlotte, so congrats to you getting on the move. So like, but what are the next steps, the things you have lined up over the next coming months?
Man, I've just been linking with like-minded people and try to build something special. That's my goal. I've been talking to a few different studios, engineers, producers, all sorts of other artists. I want to get back into booking. I did booking for my band. I did booking for a venue, and I enjoy doing that as well. So that's as far as the business side, the side hustle. I do want to start a booking company,
Nice.
which book for models, musicians, photographers, whoever is in the entertainment industry, and that's one of my side goals. But my main goal is just to take the artistry to the next level. I'd like to create something that I haven't created before.
Nice.
The sound and what I'm talking about, and just build that fan base that really fucks with me based off of finding something else that they can't find,
Yeah, we'll get you 1,000 fans, bro. Don't worry. What it sounds like, it's also, if we're wrong, but like what it sounds like, and what I fuck with even more after this interview is like, it seems that you just like put all your shit in a car and moved to Charlotte. Like, is that kind of like just what happened? Like, was there no like you know what I mean, like no job offers? Like, yo, I gotta go to Charlotte now, and I gotta be there like tomorrow.
So I got a job now, but going into it, that's how it was.
That's amazing, dude. That's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I really wanted to be. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with Raleigh, North Carolina.
No, I never. I went there once for like a fucking football game, but no.
Okay. Yeah, so that was that's what my move was gonna be. Raleigh's great for hip hop too as well. Shout out to Raleigh. Raleigh's got a lot of artists. You got legends living there like Ninth Wonder,
Oh wow.
Crack, Little Brother. If you've heard of Little Brother before.
Yeah.
Raleigh there's some talent out there.
Wow.
So that was my initial move, was Raleigh, and then I came out here a few times. I've played shows out here as well in the past, and I've played hip hop and reggae shows out here. So I've been around, not a ton, but enough to know like, hey, there's a lot of shit going on in Charlotte too. And I just started looking into it more, and then I looked at what the jobs pay here versus Raleigh.
Sure.
So I just decided to do it, man. I only know a handful of people here. I've just been building relationships, making those connections. And I'm starting from scratch, man, but I'm looking forward to it.
Dude, that's amazing.
Nice.
Bro. That's like going out there with a fucking bungee cord. Like, it's just like, dude, good for you.
Yeah, man. It's and the crazy part is it's been effortless. The way everything, life is just lined up the right way. I found a really good place for the law. You know, rent's pretty expensive here compared to where I was living before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been blessed, man. Like, I've been super blessed. It's part of like the shit that's going on right now. It's just everything's just lining up perfect, man. You know,
just embrace it.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm doing now, is just making the dots connect, you know. Just got to meet the right people and keep that same energy, keep it going.
Right. And again, I know we joke about it, but you're still young as fuck. So it's like you still have like so much time to network and link up with the right people. So
I feel good about it. You know, I was getting worried, like, man, I'm running out of time. You know, that's how I used to think when I was younger, especially when you see kids that are 18, 19 popping off. But at the same time, you never know what their situation really is. They might be signed to a label where they're getting 10% of their income and, you know, whatever, you know. You can't compare yourself to people. You just got to do what you do.
Plus, I would assume that your content would appeal to all ages, but especially older people who can relate as well. Whereas a lot of those like 15-year-old kids are making kind of like TikTok bangers and things like that you're not even making anyways. So I think you're still in a position to do great things. It's already happening. And just curious, did the pandemic influence any of these decisions? Obviously, a lot of people were stuck at home, had a lot of time to reflect and everything. Or was this always like part of the plan, but just a matter of you taking the leap?
Yeah, so the pandemic definitely played a big role. You know, once that happened, we weren't able to play shows anymore with the band. So while I'm sitting at home with all this free time, I was just in my studio making music, man. And I started making hip hop again. So I'll tell you this as well. I stopped making hip hop completely for a couple of years. And then even when I was touring and playing shows, I got back into it again. I was like, man, I need to write, I need to produce, but I didn't release. I got a bunch of tracks that I just probably will never release. That's when it became for me. When I was younger, I used to try to write hit songs and I used to try to do this and have this. I would try to scheme my way into the game. Like, well, I can trick all these people into liking me for this or that, you know? And then after I stopped and came back, I was like, I'm just gonna make these songs for me. This is my release, you know, it's my therapy, that's how it should be, I feel like. But that's my approach now, and it's still that way now that I'm actually releasing tracks again, is I have to love it first, you know. It has to be me, you know. It's not, I do care what people think. I want people to like it, but at the same time, I'm not writing songs for other people to like, you know?
Right.
Which is the biggest difference. And back to when I stopped. I'd actually stopped writing and releasing and just being a part of hip hop when it was heading in the direction that it is now, basically. You know, when the industry started changing to just bullshit rap, you know, stuff that it wasn't meaningful anymore to me anyways, you know. I didn't want to be a part of it anymore. In the past year or two, I've realized there's still an audience out there that wants to hear the shit that I make, you know, like
100%.
There's a lot of people out there. You know, when I was younger, it was hard for me to really comprehend that the radio isn't the only thing that dictates what people listen to. And I think streaming has played a big role in that as well.
Yeah. You were playing Larry June in your post.
Yeah, man.
I thought it was interesting because I know so many people who are huge fans of him. My barber back home even cuts Larry June's hair. And like people talking about numbers and orange juice and shit. I'm like, he's not on the radio at all. Clearly like doing super well, I could easily see you like having a similar fan base where you could be low key, but also have dope people like willing to invest in you and your image or whatever.
That's the goal. I look up to people like Larry June, Currency, all those people that just, they're big in this world, but you know, in the industry, in the commercial world, they're just like a little flick into the game, which isn't an insult at all. It's what I want myself, you know?
Yeah.
I love that people can make a good living. They're not just getting by, you know, they're making millions off of that niche market, you know?
Right.
They didn't do it overnight either. And I think a lot of people need to realize that as well, is that they spent years and years of their time building that audience.
Yep.
And like I think you said earlier, just like perfecting their craft, right? Like it's not just something you just, I mean, maybe some people are gifted to just hop in a booth and make like magic happen, but I find there's also like practice that needs to go into like properly ensure that you're good at what you do. Absolutely.
That's the first step, you know. People kind of go about it backwards now. That's the last step for a lot of artists.
Yeah.
Which I had to see, man. It just goes back into the less content, more art thing.
Yeah. I feel you on that. And as you've been building your fan base, obviously, like anyone who needs to kind of be in the public eye to get their stuff out there, how do you handle the hate and the trolls who might pop in and just say some bullshit that might piss you off or discourage you? Like, how do you cope with that as a up and coming artist?
So I've had it happen quite a few times since starting, but just this September. I used to care, but now I kind of laugh at it. Now I'm just like, oh, that's funny. This dude really, you know, the way people are, it always interests me. It's like, man, I'm trying to do something that doesn't involve you at all. You need to take time out of your day to come hate on something. It's hard for me to understand how people think that way, you know?
Yeah.
It's just funny to me, though. I kind of laugh at it. It doesn't bother me as much as it used to when I was younger.
That's a good approach. Yeah, it's always tough.
People have this idea of what something should sound like based off of the industry too. So if I'm not rapping, you know, this certain type of way, talking about all these other things, they think it's trap, which they're entitled to their opinion as well, you know?
Yeah.
But the fact they feel the need to let people know, like, this shit is garbage or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Get other messages from people, because I was running ads for a while. I'm gonna get back into making content, running ads, and doing the things you should as a business. I've just kind of put that on pause to get to Charlotte, and now that I'm here, I'm getting the ball back rolling.
Nice.
But I would get messages from people, and they would say, "Man, this is, you know, I needed to hear this." Stuff like that. Like, man, I'm so glad that I heard this. Nobody else is making music like this. You're gonna go far. You know, I get a lot of inspirational messages as well. So they come with each other. You're not gonna get all love with no hate, you know, vice versa.
Yeah, but then the ones that like do matter, like I'm sure even makes you like more motivated to make more songs, right? Like there's one line, I don't know what, maybe it's Confessions, and again, if I'm fucking it up, just correct me. Like the one that you're like, I'm checking in, or like God checking in while I'm already checked out. Like
at the end, yeah,
bro, that's fire, bro. Like I could feel like so many people just like had a fucked up day and they hear that, they're like, yo, yeah, he gets me, bro. You know what I mean? So like that has to be a great feeling.
Hell yeah, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even write that. I just said how I felt, you know.
Nice.
That's even doper.
Yeah, it's good though.
And I actually don't even write at all anymore. So those 3 songs that I released in September, I would just listen to the beat while I was working. I would drive around selling beer. I just played the beat, and literally I would write it, but not physically, you know?
Sure. But you already had it in your head.
I'd freestyle, and record myself freestyling. And then I'd be like, all right, I like this part here and I like this part there. And I would just add on to it as I go, you know?
Yeah. No, I think that authenticity is important, because with the commercial stuff, at least, a good chunk of it isn't relatable. it's a lot of like stealing bitches and doing perks and stuff.
Right.
But the average person, what's up?
What you say?
I said, which I've done plenty of both.
No, I know. That's what I was gonna say. I was like, I'm sure it's relatable to some people, and you probably dabbled in it. But like the average Joe is probably at home pissed off because of XYZ, because he doesn't have bitches or perks, and he's like, fuck, I'm just depressed. And I think the songs that tell the other side of the tale of like, I'm just not in the mood for shit, I feel like those are super relatable. And it's over like a solid beat, and like the melody's dope too, so it just adds like an extra emphasis to it that a lot of people appreciate. But that's good advice, because the people that say this song did something for me or whatever the case is might not be commenting on the video, but the dude who's like, this shit is trash, he's gonna make sure everyone knows his opinion. So that's something that I wish wasn't the case, but unfortunately is for a lot of people, even if you're a Drake or whoever.
Yeah, it is. And it's, you know, I still I respect all people's music, whether I like it or not. Mm-hmm. You know, I've been in a lot of situations in life, and sometimes I want to turn up and listen to some bullshit, you know, like I still like listening to some of that stuff. You know, it's not like I hate it and I don't like dismiss it immediately. I mean, some stuff I do, depending on how much auto-tune is used, but
yeah.
No, I mean, I like a little bit of everything, man.
Awesome, dude. Man, Bars, it's been a pleasure, dude. Again, I really hope, for one, this exposes you to more fans that maybe you weren't aware of, but also when you hit your 1,000 fans, I hope they can, you know, hear this hour of content and be like, oh, I know more about this rapper. I really fuck hard with this. So we really, again, appreciate you. Any last words to your current fans and your fans of the future?
And I want to thank everybody for rocking with me and in the future rocking with me. And thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely.
It's definitely been the most personable, you know, conversation that I've had about my life and music intertwined. So I think it'll be good in the future looking back at it, man. I think people will enjoy learning about more of who I am. I feel like I should share more, but I've kind of been holding a little bit back for the future as well.
Sure.
I have a certain way I want to do things, but this is great. You know, I appreciate you guys for having me and asking the questions that you asked.
Of course, dude.
Appreciate you
hopping on.
Yeah, and if there's anything like you want to plug as far as your website or upcoming shows or whatever, feel free to do that now. But we'll also put links to that in the video if you're watching this.
Cool. Yeah. Just my Spotify, my Instagram, YouTube, you know, the links. I'll send you guys the links as well.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll have it in all the tags, man. But we appreciate you. Stay on. We're going to do a little like normal goodbye right now, but stay on and we'll catch you up in a second how it's all going to drop.
Cool, man.
Yes, sir. And you can catch this interview on all platforms, audio-theory.com. And tune in every week for a new episode. If you're an artist watching who would like to be interviewed as well, feel free to submit. But until then, check out Bars. Super pleasure. Looking forward to more music, and great having you.
Later, boys. Peace.
Thank you.
Peace.